Hey everybody, I'm Patrick from Responsibly Wild, and I just wanted to pop on here because where I work day to day is at Iowa PBS, and we've been putting old episodes of the program I work on, Iowa Life, on the main Iowa PBS channel. Now, the show's only been around for 3 years. There's been iterations of stories and shows like it, but for a while we were putting some of these features on a sub-channel that we have decided isn't the best place for them. So I wanted to talk about one that went live today on the Iowa PBS YouTube channel, and that would be of Mr. Gory Corey, Corey Ruby out of Davenport. It's a 6-minute, 17-second feature, and I don't really want to talk like 5 times as long as the feature, but I do kind of want to give just a little insight into making it, because it was a special one for me. Shot it all, edited it all, scored it. And the only voice you really hear in it is Corey's. So without further ado, let's just have a little fun and maybe a small trip down memory lane watching Mr. Gory Corey, or as the title here says in the corner, Gory Corey, Gory Corey Ruby brings nightmares to life. Now I changed that for YouTube because it was, I don't know, we want to spice it up. Words like nightmare include his nickname, and he does go by Gory Corey. So why don't we give this thing a look? Okay, I'm going to try not to pause this every 5 seconds, but right off the bat, you may not be able to hear it very well on this little mix I got going, but right off the bat, this was probably the last thing we shot on the first day, and that is this zombie that Gory had made up. We took him to an Iowa City cemetery and did some, it was a photo shoot. That's why he was doing the makeup. And, you know, when I was filming him doing the makeup, it was pretty cool, all this time lapses and stuff, which we'll see. But this is really where I remember driving home just like, oh, yeah, this is going to be cool. We kind of shot like zombie in the snow in a cemetery. It's all post-apocalyptic. And, yeah, I was like, I got to score this thing. It's going to be all types of awesome.
There's no such thing as
now, at the beginning here, there's a little bit of a discussion of people watching this show we're PBS, so we lean a little older. Are they going to be freaked out when they're watching this Iowa story shows called Iowa Life, and then all of a sudden it starts immediately with a bloody, gory zombie eating an arm? So Corey kind of says right off the top that, you know, zombies aren't real. It's just makeup. I don't know how to make you look great, but I can sure make you look bad. And bad in an artful way. So there it was. And the gentleman in the zombie outfit, he runs a custom Halloween. In fact, the movie Halloween, he makes a lot of like Mike Myers outfits and the knives and things like that. And they sell them. I think he's in LeClaire, Iowa, so not too far away from where Corey's at. But very nice of him to sign up to be the zombie in a snowfield. There's Corey himself telling the story of being a young man or a baby, and his parents taking him to see some horror films. Pumpkinhead was one of them that he saw when he was quite young. And that's kind of the opposite of me. I mean, I remember being 6 years old and seeing Michael Jackson's Thriller, and it scared me enough that my heart was beating a mile a minute. I felt like I was going to jump out of my chest, couldn't sleep. But Corey got a skill that I wish I had. He's a great artist. I mean, not only can he do makeup, but he can do all these stencils and drawings. He said he hadn't drawn in a long time. He's kind of lost it. But still, look at it. That's so cool. A little thing about documentary production and feature production for Iowa Life. Documentaries, you shoot multiple interviews and they go really long and you weave them together to tell a story. I interviewed Corey and his partner, but the story was so dense that I had to cut out so much stuff. It was incredible. And normally, you know, you take a shooter with you, but there had just been a crazy snowstorm, so it was just me. And so showed up probably a little like around 10 o'clock, trying to find the best way to shoot it in his house there in Davenport. Got him on his couch. Cat kind of showed up there a few times, and just went down the rabbit hole of Corey's life and how he became this makeup artist. And he starts off here telling us about how, you know, it wasn't like something he was born into. Yes, he's an artist, but he had a friend. There he is. A man who wanted to do this horror makeup, and he went over there and helped him out. I think, oh man, that tar face guy, it's from a movie that I've seen recently. Was it The Return of the Living Dead? It's kind of a famous character. Oh, okay. When you do news, stories, if you're lucky, are 2.5, 3 minutes long. For Iowa Life, we get, and PBS in general, you get probably, I don't know, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. I've seen them stretch to 10 and longer. But even then, you don't get enough time. So like here I have these on screen for just a minute. But these are some crazy cool pieces of art that Corey worked on. These makeups, I mean, some of them look like drawings in a page, like that girl in the upper corner there. But the guy lighting a cigarette, that gash ripped apart on his face, the hands, oof. It was also, I think, a note to not have them on screen for too long because they are disturbing. But I loved it. And as somebody who has friends who are really into horror, yeah, that stuff just drives horror fans wild. Here's a time lapse. Get a little glimpse of me going around, popping around the room, making fun shots. Corey, if you watch the feature, I had to cut out a couple other films he mentioned, but he's had work in feature films that have, I mean, Margot Robbie, one of the biggest stars on the planet, right? So here, there's the origin, and then there's like the inflection point or the turning point, and for him, it was this zombie pride parade in Davenport. I might be remembering the event wrong, but it ended up being somewhat of a fiasco for this main guy that he talks about, his friend. And there was, he says, you know, as soon as he said the word zombie, everybody was okay with it. But if you Google the zombie pride parade in Davenport, 2010 or 9, there were some legal issues that lasted a couple of years, not necessarily for Corey, but for the other gentleman, yes. So that's a fun bit to watch there. All of these visuals I borrowed from the Zombie Pride Prayer Watch, things that he had, you know, and then I just tried to find the little bits here and there to accent it, but none of the raw material was available, so like the extra fast cutting and the, you know, portrait style layout or vertical layout of these images, that's just from websites and reels and things that can't get to the raw. So thankfully the Zombie Pride Parade, there it is, Zombie Pride Parade. Gotta love the old school SD footage. Blow it up to 1080, make it work in the story, but that's just what it is. Here's the garage where the first day of art was done. Now we were in this garage for 3 hours while he was working. You know, he's a detailed person. Like, he's not just going to jump in and say, call it good. But I wish I remembered this person's name from Creepy Customs, I believe is the name of the company, and I follow him on Instagram. Sat in that chair, man, and then we went out to the field, and he didn't have a very thick coat. I don't know how he did it. I was cold, and I was running around, darting inside the house occasionally. He's got to be just one of the best friends you could possibly have. These women run this photography boutique out of Iowa City, and they work with Corey sometimes. And they're talking about his work and how talented he is. And some of his photos, or his work in the photos they've taken, made it into publications. And I think one of them was blown up huge on a Las Vegas wall. It might have been in the Mirage. I can't remember. But some of these things, you know, you only got 6 minutes. And it's weird saying that. But I don't want to harp on news versus features. But, man, if you had a whole documentary about Corey, which might be possible, you could really go in depth. But it's one of those really, you gotta kill your darlings, as they say, and take out those little bits of information. Okay, there is the Iowa City Cemetery, and is there a cooler setting for a zombie in the snow to be walking through? I don't think so. When I make short films and people are in makeup, I'm like, we gotta go to the grocery store after this. You need to go show people and just get the reactions. I split as soon as this was done because, again, it snowed wild the night before this and it snowed wild the night before I went and saw Corey in Davenport. But, oh, man, these were some of the coolest shots I've ever taken for work or just for fun. I included this wide shot of her tiki bar just because, I mean, you have a setting like that, you want to include the coolness of those tiki bars, right? But yeah, Kim Anderson, they were cool. Okay, a big part of Corey's work is with body paint, and all the photos are tasteful and they look great, and there's coverings involved that you paint over, so nothing scandalous or whatever is shown. But again, this is PBS, so you have to find even another level down to be appropriate for the public airwaves. So it was, I was given a big supply of body paint images that I cut down. Here's a couple. When you edit these pieces together, you end up editing it in a certain way, and you throw in all these fun little bits to make it like really pop. This is one of those moments where I must have missed it in the final edit when I was watching it through, but there were some fun like camera snaps in here to simulate what her camera or a old school analog film camera would sound like, but they didn't make it through to the final, and that's on me for not quality controlling the final piece. Fake blood that they pop in his mouth. Look at that. Man, wouldn't it be cool if that was just your full-time job, filming that type of stuff? Corey is a cool guy, and we still occasionally message each other about random horror things. He's got opinions, like serious opinions about horror movies, and you know, I'll say I really liked something like the most recent Hellraiser movie that was on Hulu, and he went into a very long list of why he thought it failed. Whereas I don't think it's perfect, but I thought it was enjoyable. I really loved the original film. It was quite long, but yeah. Aside from this is a very small world-ish type thing. So this film, Haunt Season. This is an independently produced film that I happen to be following the producer of through YouTube because I would like to make a feature film one day. I should say I will make a feature film one day. And this producer and his wife, they're co-producers and co-writers, they wrote a film called Haunt Season. And also it just turns out I had been following his work for years through YouTube, and one of my favorite YouTubers, Rob Scallon, he's a musician just like me, except he's, you know, massive on YouTube and does just the cool stuff. And then Jake Jarvie here makes this film called Haunt Season, and I just happened to run into Corey through a friend and tell his story, so I have this like stepping stone relationship to one of my favorite online creators here on YouTube. There's a cool look from the film. Film's available on Tubi and Apple and Amazon, all that stuff. Gory's right. So we're coming to the end of the story here. There's a couple cool shots that I really like that I went in and made the thumbnail for this story on YouTube. But as this comes to a close, I just want to say thanks again to Corey and to my friend Brian Hogan, who happened to have sort of an apprentice relationship with him there for a short while, until the realities of living hours away got in the way. But this feature, stopped perfectly a second before it was done, was a treat. And I had so much fun doing it. I'm making the music. You can't really hear here, but that music is on this channel. If you want to go into the videos or the playlists and find, you know, the Gory Corey music or music, I have a playlist called Music You Can Steal, which, go ahead, borrow it, put it in your films, put it in your YouTube videos, whatever. Nothing political, though. Nothing political. That's just how I roll. But in the end, follow Gory Corey on YouTube. He's got other projects that have happened since this that have been cool to see happen. He does more than horror. He does a lot, but most of it involves blood, like gunshots and other films. There's a great film that I wanted to weave in here, but constraints of time kept it out, called Remote, which was out of Cedar Rapids, independent film that you should check out as well to see Corey's work. But yes, that is it. That's how it goes here in Responsibly Wild, and hopefully this wasn't too long. I've had a great time marching down memory lane, seeing Corey's stuff. If this finds some views on the channel, I might do it again. I'm never somebody who is married to it's got to succeed, because I'm not a full-time YouTuber. It's more about having it on here for down the line. Maybe my kids will watch it when I'm long gone. But this was it. This is one of those things that gives you the juice to keep going. So with that, I'll say thank you. Like, subscribe, share, stream, all the fun stuff. It's been a blast, and thank you again to Mr. Gory Corey Ruby.